Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Selina Loves to Knit. Today I want to talk about some patterns that really inspire me, that really spark joy, that really make me want to cast on all of them, or maybe at least most of them. And I thought I'd do like a little series where I talk about certain categories of patterns that I really like and that I have saved on my Ravelry. And today we're going to start with cabled knits. So I'm going to talk about vests, tops, cardigans and sweaters that I like, and I'm also going to talk about the sizes, the suggested yarn, and yeah, if I have other ideas for the yarn I would like to use, I'm also including that into the video. And if there are like inspiring project posts from other people, I will also talk about them, because I think that's like so cool that we as a knitting community have that platform where everyone can just post their projects and other people can see that and be really inspired to maybe use another color, do like bold color choices. And I think that's just really cool, and it always inspires me so much to look at other people's projects on Ravelry. So yeah, that's kind of like what to expect from this video today. I really hope you enjoy watching. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. If you are new on my channel, welcome here. I am Selina, I'm from Germany, I'm 31 years old. I am a knitter who started 1 year ago. I learned knitting in school, but then did not knit for like, I don't know, 15 to 20 years, and then started knitting 1 year ago again, and I have not stopped since then. I'm totally hooked, and yeah, I'd like to share my passion with you guys. And yeah, today I'm going to show you all the patterns I'm really excited about right now, so have fun watching. Okay, I'm gonna start. If you see me looking down, this is because I have my laptop here with my Ravelry list, and I'm also gonna open up the Ravelry sites and also the project sites to look at, to talk about the project I've saved and whom I wanted to tell you about. So the first pattern is a vest. It is the Ginger Vest by Dorthy Officiers, or something like that. Yeah. In the pattern pictures, there are shown two color versions. One is blue and the other one is like in an ivory color. Both samples are knit in Mayo garn, in their honey alpaca and together with their pearl mohair. I heard about Mayo garn. I think it's a brand that has really like bright colors, as far as I remember. But the alpaca yarn has like more of a toned down, more like pastel-y kind of color range. I looked at their different colors because I wanted to know if they also had like brighter ones, and they have a really nice rusty color that's really bright red, and a really nice brown, dark brown color I would really consider knitting the vest in. Yeah. The suggested needle size is 4 millimeters for the body and 3 millimeters for the ribbing. The size range is amazing. So it goes from XS to 5XL, which I think is amazing that they include so many different sizes. Yeah, we're gonna see in the other patterns it is quite differently at some points, which is so sad. But for this pattern, it is really size inclusive. So the pattern is worked bottom up. So you first knit the back panel. I think there is some short row shaping included, which is already nice. And then you connect, you basically like pick up stitches here and knit the front panel. It has cables all over, and in between the cables there is like this ornamental, I think it is like, what kind of stitch is it? It's like an ornamental stitch. Not really sure, since I have not bought it. It looks like there's like stitches and pull stitches between the cables, in between the cables, which kind of like separate them. There are cables like running down, or seams or like stitches running down the neckline that are then continuing down front, which I think looks really classy and like special. And the ribbing is done in twisted rib. At least that's what it looks like. Yeah, it also says on the page that it is done in twisted rib. The connection of the armholes is quite interesting. I'm going to include pictures here where you can see that it is only like a really short part where it is actually connected, and then there's like a big slip on each side, which makes it quite interesting. I think it looks really cool with like a blouse, as it is shown on their on the project page, on the pattern page. And yeah, I think it is a really classic, cool pattern. It is available in English and Dutch. And it has not that many projects, but I'm going to include some of my favorite projects of other people who done it, because I think that's also like really cool. So there's one vest which is done in a really bright red color. It is knit up in lang yarns, baby alpaca and their mohair. That is a really nice version. There is another version which is done in a really nice rust color. It's knit up in the Hatcholds ullspinneri in the yarn that is called Dansk Pelsult. And it is this super nice copper color. It is called copper. I think that means copper. And in a mohair. So you basically use like one strand of with sport weight or fingering weight yarn and one strand of mohair. And yeah, I'm gonna include the pictures of the project I just talked about, because yeah, I really like that about Ravelry, that you can see how other people executed the pattern. You can see it on different body types. You can obviously see it made up and like knit up in different yarns, and I think that's just like so cool. I love that about Ravelry and about the knitting community, that everyone can just share how they done a pattern, and maybe if they used like a bold color. And yeah, I think that's just like super cool. I love Ravelry. Yeah. Okay, and the pattern is done with a positive ease of 5 to 8 centimeters, so not that oversized, but also not that slim, obviously. I think it would be a perfect vest to wear on top of a t-shirt or a blouse, and yeah, therefore it can be worn like really classic, and maybe like when you're going to an office to work, and then also kind of like laid back with a t-shirt. And I think that's always really nice if you have different choices for your knits. Yeah, so I think that's everything I wanted to say about the ginger vest. And now we would then continue to another really exciting vest, which is the Oda vest. And I found the Oda vest on another YouTube channel. The channel is called Midsummer Night Studio, and the lady is called Phoebe. I think she's from England. I hope that's right. Or is she from Scotland, actually? She lives in Scotland now. That's for sure. I'm not sure if she is originally from Scotland as well or from England. But she does really nice videos. She has such a nice way of saying things, and she has a really calm voice, and she does really a lot of cabled and textured knits, and she likes wearing things really oversized. And she also uses like really nice colors in her knits. And yeah, she did a project vlog about the Oda vest, and I was amazed how pretty that pattern is. So I included it into my list of cabled knits today. The Oda vest is a pattern by Skall Studio, and it is not available on Ravelry. Unfortunately, you can only buy it on their separate website, and it is a bit more expensive than normal patterns, at least in my experience. So in euros, it costs 13 euros. It is available in Danish and English, and it is a pattern that is only available in 4 sizes. But to be totally correct, it's only available in 2 sizes, because they have like one size that is a XS/S size, and then the other size is an M/L size. So not really size inclusive, so I think that's just not cool. Like, I don't understand why people would do only 2 sizes. I don't get that. The suggested needles are 3.5 millimeter needles and 4 millimeter needles. It is worked bottom up and in the round, The suggested yarn is a yarn by a company I cannot pronounce right, so I'm really sorry. It's called Jethold Ultspinderi. I'm sure this is so wrong, but it's a Danish yarn company, and the suggested yarn is called Handwerksgarn by that company, and it actually is a yarn I wanted to knit something with for a while, so it is on my I want to use that one day list. And now I want to talk about a few other colors I think this Oda vest would look really cool in. So the woman who I watched the vlog of, Phoebe, she knit the Oda vest in a ivory white color, which is a classic. It looks really, really nice. I think the cables, the whole pattern would look really nice, really crisp in a white color. But I think it would also look really cool in a bright red color. So there is one color that is called Clear Rod. It is the color 34 by said company, which I think the slipover would look really cool in. There's also like a marled beige brown color, which is called Liesbrun. I think this would be also quite a nice color for the vest. And then the other color I wanted to share is a brown color. It's called Kastanjebrun. And that would be also quite a cool color, I think, for that vest. So, like next weekend, I'm gonna go to Hamburg. I'm gonna visit my sister in Lübeck, and we are going to spend one day in Hamburg. And I have a voucher for one of Hamburg's yarn shops, and they also have the Jethold Ultspinderi yarn there, and I'm really excited to touch it because sometimes I am really sensitive with like 100% wool, so I'm not really sure. I'm excited to touch it and then decide if I want to buy yarn to knit the Oda vest with. I think that's going to be my process to make a decision. But that's the Oda vest. I'm really excited to maybe one day knit it, and maybe sooner than later. We will see. Okay, that was the Oda vest. I am let me just have a look. I'm definitely including the project post by Phoebe in my Ravelry bundle if you want to check her out, and also if you want to check her project post. you can do that. Okay, let me just like close that two tabs here and then we can just continue. Okay, next up I'm going to talk about a cabled top, which is the Camisole No. 9 by Myfavoritethingsknitwear. Yeah, she's quite famous, so I guess you have heard of her. She published the Camisole No. 9, which is a top-down construction. So it is an all-over cabled top, which has a folded neck and also ribbing on the armholes. So the pattern is available from XS to 2XL, which is an okay range, but not that great, I think, but better than only two sizes. And the suggested yarn is the Knitting for Olive Merino or Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino. And it has a negative ease of, I think, 5 to 8 centimeters. It is knit up in 3mm needles and 2.5mm needles. So yeah, I think it is the same needles that you use for the Camisole No. 9, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So this is a really nice top. I think the look of it is classic. It's like really sleek. It looks store-bought, which is always nice. The pictures of the pattern itself, it is only shown in one color, which is like a gray. But if you look at the projects, there are actually a lot of really, really pretty projects, which I want to some of them I want to share. So there's one project where the woman who did it in Clover Green by Knitting for Olive. That's a project I think is really, really pretty, such a bright color. There's someone else who did it in, one other person who did the Camisole No. 9 in Cascade yarns. There's someone who did it in a really nice like beige color. I think it is the Knitting for Olive merino. Yeah, it looks really nice, amazing. So I'm also going to include the more colorful versions of the Camisole No. 8. And yeah, I don't see myself knitting this pattern this year, to be honest. Maybe as a gift for my best friend next year, because I think that would be a pattern that would really much suit her style, and I'm not really sure if I would wear it as a top. If it would be a slip over, that would be a different story, but as a top, I'm not really sure if it is 100% my style. But nevertheless, I think it is a really, really pretty pattern. And Myfavoritethingsknitwear, she does really beginner-friendly patterns. She does really in-depth descriptions of what you have to do step by step. So that's something, to take in consideration when you are thinking about knitting this pattern. Okay, now we are moving on to my next pattern that I wanted to talk about today. So the next pattern is a cardigan. So we are now talking about cardigans, and the first one I want to talk about is the Pamina cardigan by Gregoria Fibers. She's the person who did the Vilma top. I bought the pattern for that one last year and I have not knitted it yet. But I know that it is quite famous. And the pattern is an all-over cable pattern, which is worked top down. It has a really nice round collar. It has a button band. It is a saddle shoulder construction. And it is knit up in 4mm needles for the body and then 3mm needles for the ribbing. The yarn. No, the sizes. I'm like all over the place. I'm sorry. So there are 8 sizes available, which is great. I love that. And the suggested yarn is Loch Lomond by BC Garn, and that is a yarn I am super excited about because I watched another YouTuber. Her name is Orsa Makes. You may have heard of her. She did a video where she talked about a colorwork sweater she is knitting right now in the Loch Lomond, and she showed the yarn, and I fell in love immediately. It is a really, really, really nice like tweed yarn, but it also has like kind of a fluff to it. And there's this brown colorway. I'm gonna include pictures. I'm gonna include pictures of the yarn itself, and then also of a project by someone on Ravelry. She did it in that brown color, and I think it looks really, really nice. Yeah, I'm definitely knitting something in this yarn one day. I'm not sure if it's going to be the Pamina cardigan or something else, but I think it's really cool that I found a pattern that is knit up in this yarn, which I also, I'm sure I want to knit with one day. Yeah, is there anything else to say? So there are not that many projects, like 50 projects. Loads of people have knitted in the suggested yarn, so that's always really cool to see other colorways of the one yarn that is recommended. I'm definitely including the brown colorway and maybe there's also like someone who did it in a gray color, which is also, I think it shows the pattern really nice. I'm also including that one. Just gonna save it to my bundle so that you can check it out. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Okay, now next up is another cardigan. It is the Maisie cardigan by Emily Y. Chen, Knits. It is done in a really nice buttery yellow colorway. The size range is oh wow, she actually has 10 sizes, you guys. This is amazing. And it is a cardigan with positive ease, 15 to 20 centimeters of positive ease is recommended or included into the pattern, and it is worked top down with a modified raglan construction, and the body is then worked flat and the sleeves are worked in the round. No. It's worked top down in a modified raglan construction where the yoke and body are worked flat. Okay, interesting. It looks really cool. Yeah, you can actually see the raglan seams. So yeah, I'm not really sure about the construction, but it's basically back and front are worked flat and the sleeves are worked in the round. So that's interesting. Oh yeah, that's really cool. On her pattern side, you can see that there's one version, the butter yellow version, which is done with a wool and a mohair, and then there's a burgundy version, which is knit only in a merino or wool yarn. And I think that's also really nice to see like kind of the differences between using only wool and then using a lace weight yarn as well. So let's talk about the yarn. So the suggested yarn is Knit Picks palette together with Drops Kid Silk Mohair. And the burgundy sample is knit with wool knit merino wool 4-ply held double. Knit Picks, I think those are all like US or like, at least to me, not really known yarn brands. But the stitch gauge, or the gauge of the whole thing, is 32 stitches per 34 rows. Okay, she has different gauge swatches that are suggested where you can figure out what kind of yarn you would use. Yeah, so the yarn suggestion, I don't know, it's not that in depth. Maybe you would be a bit more. Okay. And the pattern is available in English only. Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Yeah. I think it is a really, really nice pattern. It is so size inclusive. There are also pictures of people with like slightly bigger bodies on the pattern side, which is really nice. And yeah, there are also some really nice project posts. Like there's one version in like a really nice green color. I'm gonna include that. There's another one in a really nice white version. It was actually the test knit. That's interesting. I'm gonna include that. Cabled knits included. The other one. Oh yeah, this one is really, really nice. Cool. So I'm gonna include 2 other projects that I think are really pretty in my Ravelry bundle. And now I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah. Okay. Whoops. So the next pattern I want to talk about is the Siri cardigan by Knit. So the Siri cardigan is available in 10 sizes, which is amazing. It is available in many languages. It is available in German, English, Danish, French, Norwegian, and Swedish. So a lot more languages than on the other patterns we talked about. So with this pattern, I think it is so pretty because it has this like super nice cable next to the button band, and then there is also cables going down the sleeve, and I think it just looks really, really nice. And what I also think is super nice, that the back has no cables at all. So obviously there would be a lot of cable work to do on the sleeves and also up front, but in the back it's only like another stitch, which I do not know. Oh yeah, it's the moss stitch. That's what it's called. So the back is worked entirely in moss stitch. Yeah, I think it's just such a nice pattern. I do think it looks especially nice in a ivory white color, as shown on the pattern pictures. There are also pictures in like a grey color. I don't really like grey, so that would not be for me. But there are many, many, many projects on this pattern, so there's loads of inspiration for you. Okay, maybe I should talk about the yarn before I talk about inspirational stuff. Okay, so suggested yarn is Filcolana Tilia, Cardiff Cashmere Classic, Filcolana Saga, and Sandnes Garn Poppy. And now we have to figure out. Okay, interesting. So basically, you held together Filcolana Saga, which is a 50 grams by 300 meters strand, like two strands together with a silk mohair. Okay. Or you use a Sandnes Garn Poppy, which is like a 50% alpaca, 35% cotton, and 15% merino wool yarn. Okay, interesting. Okay, so it is a top-down construction with raglan increases. The sleeves are worked in the round, and it uses German short rows in the front for the shaping. So those are all things I do understand, which is cool. But yeah, I do not have concrete plans. This is one of those knits that I think are just like a staple. If I would knit them, they would be in my wardrobe forever. I could use them, wearing them at work, maybe also over a dress in the summer. It would be worn great, like it would be worn beautifully over a t-shirt or a long sleeve with jeans. I think it's just such a versatile cardigan, but I do not have concrete plans for this one yet, but it is definitely like on top of my list of things I would like to knit within my whole time of knitting, like in the future. Okay, I hope I told you everything there is to be told about this pattern. Lynette, she is such an amazing designer. She also designed the porcelain sweater and other like colorwork patterns I would like to talk about in my other video. And now we can move on to sweaters. Oh man, I'm quite hungry. I'm sorry if you can hear my stomach kind of like grumble and like growl. But I'm trying to finish for the last, I think I want to include like 5 more sweaters. This is going to be such a long video. Okay, we have now, I think we can do the next 2 sweaters can be done rather quickly. So I'm going to talk about 2 more patterns by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the sweater number 15, which is a all-over cabled classic style sweater. It is an oversized sweater. It is, it has like slightly oversized sleeves, which are really pretty. The size range goes from XS to 2XL. Suggested needles are 4.5 and 4 millimeter needles. For material, yarn that is suggested is the Kid Zeta Gepard, which is, I guess, like a kid silk, and hold together with Gepard Wild and Soft. Alternative yarns are Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair held together with Knitting for Olive Merino. And yeah, I think it is a really nice, super classic pattern that looks great, and I would love to knit that. There are many, many, many project posts. There is one really nice project I want to include here, which is made out of Knitting for Olive Blue Tit, the color Blue Tit. It looks so pretty. It is like an amazing, amazing color combination for that pattern. I think the cables, they look really like crisp. What else do I want to include? Maybe some other yarn choices would be interesting. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's a cool one. I'm also including this one. So there's another sweater number 15, made with Mondine, which is the Rosa Pamina yarn, and held together with Isagar Alpaca 1, which is a really nice yarn combination, I think, and it looks so pretty. It is a really nice rust color, and the person who made it, the woman, she like smiles really. I think she's super proud of her project, and she definitely can be proud. It is such a pretty project that she did. I'm including that as well. So cool. Yeah, amazing. Okay, you might have noticed that the light is changing slightly. It is like the afternoon, and I have been filming for much more time than I wanted to. So the next sweater I want to talk about is the Ninon sweater by Morecaknits. It is a really nice cable sweater. It is super oversized, and it is available in loads of languages. It is available in German, English, Danish, French, Korean, Norwegian, Polish, and Swedish. That's really cool. The size ranges goes from XS to 5XL. The Ninon sweater has an oversized fit. It has approximately 10 to 25 centimeters of positive ease, where the larger sizes include less positive ease as the smaller sizes. Suggested yarn is Filcolana Peruvian. The other yarn that is suggested is number 3 by Önling yarn. Two strands of number 3 Önling and number 10 Önling. Okay, I have no idea. I've never heard of that yarn. Okay, Önling number 10 is a silk mohair, and Önling number 3... Oh, it is a heavy organic merino wool. Interesting, okay. So maybe kind of like the same... So it's a DK worsted weight yarn. 133 meters over 50 grams. Okay, interesting. Interesting. The color ranges, yeah. Okay. Not that. Oh, it has a really nice cranberry red. It has a super nice kiwi green. Cool, okay. And there's also like a really buttery yellow, banana yellow. That looks also super nice. Okay, so loads of color choices there. Obviously, Filcolana Peruvian, you have a lot of color choices there as well. And now I want to talk about what excites me about this sweater. So obviously we have kind of like a same or like a similar look like the Oda vest, where there are like two big cables going down each side, and in the middle there is like a huge space where I think it's the honeycomb stitch, something like that. And that kind of look, I think it just like looks so cool. It's worked top down. It begins with the back, which is worked flat with German short rows to shape the neckline. That's always nice. I think sweaters that do not have German short rows or any other way of shaping or like making a difference between the back and the front, they're just not good patterns, in my opinion. Okay, so the front is worked flat in one piece. Okay, and then you work like, you cast on stitches for the underarms. Okay, interesting. So that would be quite an interesting construction to work the sweater in. I'm not really sure if underarms finally stitches are picked up along the armholes to work the sleeves in the round. Okay, so the sleeves are worked in the round. The front is worked flat. The back then obviously has to be worked flat as well. And then at some point you join in the round and you knit the hem in the round. Interesting. I'm going to try to include pictures where maybe the construction is like getting a bit more... Well, no, I cannot. I have not done it because, like, obviously I have not bought the pattern, I've not knitted it, so I do not really know. It kind of looks like a contiguous shoulder construction, if I'm not wrong entirely. But yeah, I just love the look of that sweater. I'm gonna look at some project posts that are done. There are only like 32, so not that many people have knitted this sweater. I'm not sure why, because it is so pretty. And I am going to include, oh yeah, the back looks amazing. Oh my god. But also like a lot of work. And I hope I said it right, that it is honeycomb construction. There are also like loads of cables running down the back and also on the sleeves. Oh, there's one person who did the whole project in the Önling kiwi green color, and oh, this is so pretty. I'm including this one into my bundle. Ooh. Oh, there's another one that's also really, really pretty. It's done with like 2 different strands of Önling, like 2 different colors. This one is also, it's like burgundy purple. So pretty. I'm also including this one into the bundle. Amazing. Okay, so I hope I told you everything there is to know. No, I think I did not talk about the needle sizes, right? Let me have a look. So for the body, you use 4.5 millimeter needles, and for the ribbing, you use 3 millimeter needles. This is one of those patterns, like I see myself maybe at one point being really invested in cabled knits. Like once I started really doing loads of them, I could maybe also consider knitting such a heavy cabled, all over cabled knit with like different techniques. Right now, I feel like I should start with a cable knit where maybe it's like cables all over, but only one type of cable. So I would not be completely overwhelmed. But for the future, this would be quite an quite an interesting knit for me to do. Yeah. And especially like the first picture you see, like this kind of like oversized look in the cream color. I think it looks amazing. Yeah, Morecaknits Ninon sweater. Classic one that I think is really, really pretty. Okay, guys, last pattern I want to talk about today. I hope I have enough light so that you can see me and that the quality of the video is okay. This is the last pattern I want to talk about, and I think it is maybe one of my favorites that I also found through Phoebe from the Midsummer Night Studio YouTube channel, and it is the Eurus sweater by Aegyoknit. And it is a sweater that is constructed really interestingly. It is available in English, Danish, Korean, and Norwegian. There are 3 sizes available. It is a oversized sweater, which includes like a lot of positive ease. It says, okay, the finished sweater circumferences is approximately 120 centimeters for the small size and 140 centimeters for the third, like the biggest size. So you are also going to see this on the pictures that I am going to blend in. It is really heavily oversized. The sweater is worked, if I remember correctly, you start knitting one sleeve. So you start on the ribbing of one sleeve, you knit across in the round, you then somehow separate the round, continue knitting over the front part, and then you're knitting the other sleeve, and then I think you pick up stitches to knit the body back and front separately, and then you seam them together, if I remember correctly. So it is a really interesting construction, which you will also see on the pictures I'm gonna blend in, so you get an idea what I mean by like kind of like stars on the one side and goes over to the other side. I think that's like really pretty. I've never seen that before. It has quite a like wide neck opening, I feel like, with ribbing, and the sleeves also have like really big ribbing, and they're also really oversized. This sweater I'm actually so excited about that I am thinking about planning to knit it this year in winter. Like, I think this may be my big winter knit project. We will see if I'm still this excited about it in autumn, and then I would buy yarn for it. But for now, I think it would just not be worth knitting this now and not be able to wear it, because obviously it would take me like, I guess, quite a long time to knit this super complicated knit with stitches I've never done before and a really different construction. But I think it is a really timeless, super pretty knit that would make such a nice addition to my wardrobe. And the suggested yarn is again the Jeltholz Ullspinnerie Handwerksgarn, which I talked about in the beginning of my video. So yeah, this would be another project where I could use that yarn if I like the feel of it. So that's something I'll have to figure out when I go to Hamburg and can actually feel the yarn and figure out if I would like to use it on such a big sweater. Is there anything else? Yeah, the needles. We have not talked about the needle size. So it is knit up in 6mm needles, so really, really big needles. That's also something that super much interests me, because I tend to only knit in like 3 to 4.5mm needles. I've only knit one pattern in bigger needles. That was the cardigan, the jacket number 1 by Myfavoritethingsknitwear. And yeah, it would be really interesting to knit that, to knit the pattern with such a big gauge. Is it actually a big gauge if you use big needles, or is that completely wrong, or is it a small gauge? I'm not really sure, but the gauge is 16 stitches over 20 rows, so yeah. And yeah, there are actually a lot of project posts about this sweater, which I think is amazing as well. I'm gonna include pictures of my favorite projects. I already browsed through all of them. There's one which is knit up in a really nice pink color. Gonna save that into the bundle as well. So there's one, oh yeah, that's like a really nice version. There's one person who knit the sweater in La Bien Aimée mohair silk and Pearl Soho cashmere merino bloom in a really nice green, bright green color. I'm also including this one as well because I think it's really cool and it looks really different from the other ones. And yeah, let me have a look if I included everything I wanted to say. Yeah. So that's it. I now talked about many cabled knits today. I also had to switch my camera and start over because somehow the quality was really bad. I hope now it is okay. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, it's still recording. Yeah, guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I think it got a bit out of hand time-wise, so I will see how much I can chop off while editing. But I had so much fun talking to you about all the cabled knits that really excite me, and they also really excite me for times where I'm more experienced and where I have more knowledge and more practice in the whole knitting field. And then maybe these patterns, they seem doable and realistic to make at one point in my life. I would be really happy. Today's patterns, I all like them so much. I hope that was noticeable. And for everyone else who is maybe a beginner as well, or also if you are a really experienced knitter, maybe you could share what was your first cabled sweater you knit and why? And are there any other patterns I missed? That could also be the case, I guess, because I had to concentrate on some of them, and there were many more I could have shared, but those are the ones that made it into the video today. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and also subscribing to my channel. That really would mean the world to me. And I'll see you next time in another video. Bye!